up for Chrono, or you can get the Chrono tested up for Earth Splitter. So just having those abilities wombo combo them together, and well, we'll see what's going to go down. And speaking of wombo combos, Disruptor definitely has the potential to partner up with a bunch of people. Do you think we're going to see any big synergies?
It's hard to say. I feel like, a few months ago, a year ago, you look at Disruptor pick and you think, all right, they are going to wombo some combos. He was just kind of that niche hero that was really good against, he's good against Darkseer, he's good against Ember Spirit. There's all these specific heroes that he's particularly good against. Anybody who's just really mobile, Storm Spirit. He comes zipping in, you glimpse him back, he gets sent back home without his mana. Now we're seeing Disruptor valued as just a good support. Like, teams are just picking him up because, hey, we like what he brings to the table. He does a lot of damage. He gives you vision. He has a huge utility, AoE silence. It really feels like silence is becoming more prioritized. Some of it is just the way the meta has shifted, but we're seeing heroes like Riki, Disruptor, Death Prophet, all with a lot of priority, and all of them have a big, beefy AoE silence.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is because of the overall fight meta, where you pick up these heroes with big ultimates that you got to go in, you got to execute perfectly, and whoops, a silence throws off your timing by 2 or 3 seconds, and you've missed your window for a great team fight.
Mm-hmm. So Empire thinking about it, though. This is the beginning of a really open-ended draft. With the Jug Disruptor, you could transition into a more pushing-based lineup. You've got all the healing from the ward on the Juggernaut. Or you could transition into a more team fight-oriented lineup. And it looks like they will choose the latter. Tidehunter, their third choice. Now you've got a Ravage, the big AoE ulti, to go with that AoE ulti from the Disruptor. Nice, well-rounded start here for Empire.
Yeah, and with Tidehunter picked up like 99% chance of throwing him in the offlane, and that's going to mean you have a little more flexibility if you want to pick up a dedicated jungler, or you could go through and pick up another support just to have that really, really structured lineup. We'll see what Empire want to do here. I'm actually surprised there's no love for Batrider on either side yet.
Yeah, Batrider's in a really strange place. Some teams really prioritize him, others don't. It seems like the C teams in particular really like Batrider, and the European teams not as much. Alliance is the one that really comes to mind for me of the S4 Batrider, and they have a pretty specific playstyle. Well, even Bulldog plays it occasionally, but neither of these teams big Batrider fans, I think.
We haven't seen him play in a little bit here, especially because we are so focused on the qualifiers, but Navi runs a pretty nice bat as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, Navi does. And then there are some. It's not that nobody ever runs Bat, but it seems like in C, it's regarded as everyone's like, oh, yeah, Batrider. No, we should first ban him. That hero's scary. Here, it's like, oh, you want Batrider? Sure, no one's going to think twice about it. There's all these other, like, Spirit Breaker, for example. You're not seeing him banned out very often.
So Crystal Maiden pick up for Power Rangers, and yeah, she's an awesome utility support, and the Frostbite's great in lane, but I'm thinking that's an indication that Power Rangers are going to pick up a mid and a safe laner that are so mana dependent that you need that Arcane Aura.
Yeah. CM, one of the great things about her is that she can actually farm the jungle pretty well. Frostbite allows her in like a slow-paced game to actually just get some early experience and help out the team with the aura. Darkseer really benefits from that Crystal Maiden aura. It's like one of those things where no hero is mad to have extra mana regen, but some it opens up so much more in the lane. And I think Darkseer is definitely one, especially before like those early couple of levels before he has his Soul Ring completed. Even after the Soul Ring, it lets him spam crazy. And well, there you go. Good call. Batrider picked up by the Power Rangers.
I think that's going to be mid-bat, and I would...
you think so, huh?
I'd bet some pennies we're going to have a safe lane Sven.
All right. Why you think Sven?
Just because he does just thrive having the extra mana pool. Again, at early levels, Sven doesn't have enough mana to go for 2 Stormhammers in a row. And once he needs Warcry to push towers, he's going to need that extra bit of mana. And you've got the Batrider there, so he is a melee core. Combine that with the Riki and the Darkseer, but Batrider drags a hero right to his open jaws.
Batrider is another one that the aura makes a huge difference, especially if we're talking like a mid lane Batrider where he's got a lot more pressure to constantly spam, constantly put pressure on the lane. It allows him to put out that sticky napalm just a little bit more. You know, he's a hero that can min-max quite a bit and has a pretty high skill cap. You know, S4 is, I feel like he really sets the bar for mid-bat riders right now. And that extra mana definitely can make the difference. Dragon Knight for Empire, though, good pusher. They've got a little bit of everything at this point. Good team fight, good pushing, good control in the mid-game, and some late-game potential also.
Yeah, I'm liking Empire's draft a lot. I also love this ban on Dusa. I think Dusa can no longer be overlooked as a hero that is picked up PR. They have no problem taking games late. They are able to turn things into the late game. And again, the mana pool for Dusa is super crucial because that's how she tanks up most of her damage.
Yeah, I think Dusa Batrider is just a pretty nasty combo in general. Anybody who can sort of force you to go in one direction, you have to kind of charge into the Medusa. Darkseer can also be a good hero to pair it with. You back somebody in, you hit them with the Stone Gaze, and it's just hard to scatter about and not take big damage from the fire from the Bat Rider, but also the split arrows coming out of the Medusa. I totally agree with you, though. I was saying on the panel earlier, I think Medusa is actually undervalued by a lot of teams right now. Like, has that reputation for just being the late game raid boss, which she certainly is, but she can fight early. Stone Gaze at level 6 is a great team fighting skill, and a lot of people just totally disregard it. Even her at level 7 with a level 4 Mystic Snake, that thing does a lot of damage, and it drains a lot of mana. If you're talking about knocking down tier 1 towers, you can 5-man with a Medusa really effectively at that stage of the game and put a lot of pressure on.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping for some more Medusa picks, again, just because I did memorize some fun facts on snakes if we needed some filler. But unfortunately, we have to pass over. So Power Rangers last pick. I'm thinking it's going to be a Sven. Could be, another hard farmer, Spectre, Anti-Mage. But again, they're both very situational. I'm not quite sure Empire. This is the situation because Empire's draft is so well rounded right now.
Yeah, and they have the luxury of last pick to kind of react to whatever Power Rangers grab here. Now, this is a pretty open-ended draft, though. With the Dark Seer, it's a fairly safe assumption it's a Bat Rider mid, and they're looking for this safe lane carry. You mentioned Sven as a possibility. I think it could definitely work. Slark has also been banned out. Popular hero for either of these teams.
Bristlebat carry?
Possibly. I mean, they could take it like an Ember Spirit as well. It would be a little bit greedy, but I think it could work. They take Spectre. Wow.
Called it.
Very interesting. I wonder why Spectre here. She's really fallen out of vogue, especially on this patch. She was hit with the nerf stick. A lot of teams really are not valuing the Spectre very highly.
It's because Team Empire, you look at their combinations, and here their last pick probably won't be too telling, but when they're ready to fight, they're going to be rotating around, and you can have Spectre off on her own farming up, and when Power Rangers decide they do want to take a fight, hit R, join the fight, and go right back to farming. And also, I think the power peaks of Empire are going to be pretty interesting here. Juggernaut comes online quite early, and Spectre, she can fight early, but also continues to scale very well late. So PR, I think, can just outlast Empire, but with last pick Bounty Hunter, track gold is now going to be a big issue.
Very interesting last picks, neither of which I would have predicted at all, especially the 5th pick Bounty Hunter. We've seen teams play Riki in place of Bounty, and there was a window during that transition where it seemed like, well, yeah, Riki's kind of like a weaker Bounty Hunter, but he offers more. He's got a TP interrupt. He can recover with track, and Riki, you kind of have to keep that momentum going. And that whole dialogue has changed. Now even Riki towards the late game with the AoE silence, if he doesn't have a lot of items, has a lot of utility. And now it seems like people are looking at Bounty Hunter as that hero that's like, well, yeah, he can kind of recover, but Riki just offers so much more at those early levels. Like, he can take over the game way more effectively than Bounty Hunter can in that delicate part of the laning phase. I have not actually cast a match since Riki has come into popularity where it's been a Riki versus Bounty Hunter, both on the roaming 4s. So this should actually be pretty interesting. I think the rotations from those two heroes will be pretty telling about how this game transpires.
I have seen a couple of the matches, and it was a game where Riki was very starved, and Bounty Hunter had a lot of early success, finding 2 courier snipes, and just going in, getting that level 6 very early. So Bounty Hunter dominated, but that's not to say that it can't go the other way.
Yeah, definitely. Player with highest net worth by 25 minutes. Probably Spectre.
I'm thinking Juggernaut.
And total number of Blink Daggers purchased by 25 minutes. Okay, 1, 2...
2, 3.
3, possibly 4. It really depends on what build the Dragon Knight goes for here. With a Tide Hunter and a Bounty Hunter, I don't think he's going to go for an early Blink. I'm going to go with... it's 3 or 4. Okay, well, definitely more than 2, I think, for sure.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a priority here. We'll see what the Darkseer builds up, if he wants to go that route, or if he wants to go like max utility with...
No, he'll get a Blink almost guaranteed.
Yeah.
I think Darkseer without a Blink is a Darkseer without a home. It's just a core item.
Doesn't make sense, but all right.
Hey man, he's a nomad. He wanders around. I don't know. I don't know Darkseer's lore. I'm sure it's titillating.
Ishkafel, I think is his name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, little Ish there, little blue dude. He's so tiny.
Purple.
You don't realize how little he is until you zoom in. He's like half the height of a lot of the other heroes.
So is Riki.
Well, yeah, but he's like a stealth assassin. You would expect him to be tiny. He sneaks up on you. You don't hear him coming.
What does Darkseer need to be big for? He just builds walls.
Well, I don't know
Small
that
man like Trump.
I don't know that he needs to be big. It's just notable at how small he is. In fact, I mean, you look at Terrorblade. He's like, when he pops Metamorphosis in BKB, Terrorblade's literally 3 or 4 times bigger than most of the other heroes. It's actually insane how big the model gets.
BKB with the Metamorphosis, he's half the freaking map.
His wingspan is like across the
screen.
the entire screen
ridiculous.
for the camera. Yep. All right. Well, pause Areno here. Who knows what's going on? I cannot read Cyrillic, unfortunately.
Dude, step up your game, man.
I know. I really got...
Just, Davai,
That's about the extent of my Russian right there.
Niet. There you go.
Yeah, I guess I know a couple curse words, but...
SUBCRIBE. You gotta get these pub experiences. You gotta get that base language down.
It's true. It's true. I've always dreamt of learning another language, but oh god, it sounds like more fun than it is. It's really a grind.
Dude, get that Rosetta Stone. Just put it on in the car.
Even Rosetta Stone is, they make it look really fun. You watch a few commercials and you're like, even I can learn a language. I'm going to do it in my spare time. You get home from work and you're like, wow, this is like real power learning.
There's like 100 things I'd rather do than this.
It's actually really hard and not relaxing at all. I'm just getting frustrated that I can't read these goddamn characters. And then I just rage quit out of Rosetta Stone and go play Dota, then lose and further rage quit and then try to go outside. And
honestly, like audiobooks, they'll save your life. Just download them, put them on the iPod, throw them in the car.
Well, audiobooks are actually life-changing. It's a good way to...
Last audiobook I listened to was 50 Shades of Grey, and that was just terrible.
Wow.
All around worst experience.
Actually, the last audiobook I tried to listen to was really not a good choice. It was Bill O'Reilly, one of the Bill O'Reilly books.
Yeah, that meshes well with your personality.
Killing Jesus. And I was like, I want to learn about the history of Jesus. And after about 10 minutes, I was like, I just learned that I really don't care about the history of Jesus. Delete. I don't want this anymore.
All right.
Oh my God! And the Game of Thrones finale is tonight. Woo! It's Sunday.
Dude, can it get any bloodier? The last episode.
No, episode 9 is usually the best. If you look historically across Game of Thrones, usually it's like episode 1 is really good, episode 2 is usually pretty exciting, and then like episodes 8 and 9 are usually when stuff really heats up, and usually the finale is.
Yeah, I don't even
just
watch
sets
it.
up for episode 1.
I've only seen like 2 episodes. Lyrical had it on at the Beyond the Summit house while I was sitting there for opens. So.
Don't know
lots of blood.
What you're doing with your life. It's honestly the greatest
Dude,
television
I gotta
show
keep
on
up
TV
with
right
Teen
now.
Mom. I gotta really step up my game in terms of positive
Teen Mom could be one of the worst shows on television right now.
I'm not arguing that point, but I am saying I
actually watched an embarrassing amount of Teen Mom season 2, and I think I can say it is my least favorite TV show that I've watched more than 10 minutes of.
Because season 2 is terrible.
It was abysmal.
Okay, well, let's actually cast the Dota game going on.
All right, we haven't missed too much here. Everybody just wandering out of their lane, into their lanes here, and it looks like the laning phase will be fairly straightforward. Cheshire Cat will take the Darkseer off lane. It will be that mid Bat Rider you were talking about, and then my man, god damn, he's going to be playing that Spectre here in the safe lane. Have a couple supports rotating around, Ricky and Crystal Maiden. A lot of kill potential with these 2 supports. Ooh, first on Big Num. They should be able to pick on this mid laner, at least a little bit. DK, not the easiest target to kill. All that armor, all that regen. But Bat Rider, sometimes against those melee heroes, he has just an added little bit of potential. Once you get 3-4 stacks of sticky, you can try and turn and run, but that armor's not going to keep you safe from that huge movement speed slow. So we'll see. For Empire, I really feel like there's a lot of pressure on Miposhka. He needs to make these early rotations count.
Yeah, I think Bounty Hunter and Ricky are definitely going to come at it. I think they're going to match up, and I think it might just be down to individual skill because their mechanics are very, very similar. Go in, leech experience from the junglers, look for the courier snipes, and may the better player win.
Yeah, looking at initial wards here, Dire going to take control of the pillar, or the plateau, depending on what you prefer there, outside of the Radiant Ancients, and Radiant going to take this plateau in the jungle. It's a really good ward spot. It just gives you some nice intel into this camp. You can see when people are pulling. You can see this whole entryway into the jungle. Definitely opens up some possibilities to catch rotations. Big Num going to start down bottom on Afterlife, put a couple of backstabs into that Watermelon. J4 with the Frostbite. Probably not going to be a kill here, but they'll at least force the Tidehunter to chew through some of that regeneration. He did anticipate this. He went for a double Tango and Healing Salve. So a lot of regen here, but he did not buy the Iron Talon straight up. So if Afterlife gets zoned out here, he's not going to be able to just easily rotate into the jungle. It is going to take him a little bit of time to build up to that farming tool.
Yeah, and meanwhile, while there is so much harass coming out, the Crystal Maiden having the time of her life there, she loves when she can go in on those melee carries, or those melee offlaners, and just start ripping them apart. Juggernaut getting some far, but now 4 stacks of Napalm, 5 stacks.
This is what I'm talking about.
Scandal going to be burning down, no points in Dragon Blood. That's going to fight him in the ass. He goes through, he gets the stun, he gets the breathe fire, but looks like 1 hit will secure the
Dragon
first blood.
Blood wouldn't have saved him. It wouldn't have mattered. That is just straight up not respecting the power of the Bat Rider. Said it just a few minutes ago. Once you get 3 or 4 stacks up, you need to be so careful. That's when the Bat Rider player starts to think, okay, okay, if he doesn't back up right now, I'm going to have a kill chance. And that's exactly what happened. This DK sticking around way too long. Very uncharacteristic of Scandal, a very experienced player. Definitely would have expected him to know his limits just a little bit better than that, as we see Miposhka now trying to harass this Darkseer and make his life a little bit difficult.
Yeah, so it's kind of a 1v1 between those jerks. And, you know, Afterlife, will he go for the Iron Talon and have to step out of lane, or is he going to just be sitting back taking all that harass? Because currently he's kind of starved in terms of XP.
No, this is brutal for the Tidehunter. This is really the reason why you see Iron Talon level 1, because this is what happens. Against these kind of supports, you know you're going to be harassed. You won't easily be able to get up to the creep wave and get experience and farm. And now he doesn't really have a recovery plan. He's just going to try to not die and slowly accrue the passive gold gain to get that farming tool. They're going to dive him here. Hastrun onto a Rise.
No stacks of napalm just yet. I mean, the Goron one, he's burning slowly.
Still be a kill, though. He does have Crack and Shell. He's just going to TP out. So forcing a TP, still a victory here. It does take a lot of that HP from a Rise, but just being able to assert his dominance like this is definitely a good start for the Bat Rider, to say the least.
Yeah, now mid lane, we are going to have Darkseer soaking up some XP. And right now, Scandal, we've already seen him on this Dragonite once today get completely starved, just be incredibly underwhelming. Is he on the course for that again?
I'm sorry, repeat the question.
Scandal, if he starts falling behind, earlier today in the game against, I believe, Alliance, he just became essentially a glorified support.
Yeah, was that also a Dragonite game, or was he on somebody else?
No, it was Dragonite. In the mid lane, he got just punished.
Dragonite is a pretty tempo-based hero, right? You want to get your fast level 6, and one of the great things about Dragonite is when your opponent's rotating around trying to find kills, you can just siege this tower and very quickly take out that primary access point. When you fall behind and you can't really put that pressure on, then it sort of limits DK's ability to just spread out and take over the game. Pretty curious what item build he's going to go for here. We see BKB as a pretty obvious core item on Dragonite, but sometimes that Shadow Blade is a really good key item to allow him to do some extra damage and initiate without having to invest in a Blink Dagger. You can sneak in behind enemy lines, and I've definitely seen games where DKs have a rocky start like this, and a Shadow Blade allows them to get back into it. I don't know if this will be the game for it, but there are a couple heroes that he could definitely hunt. That's the case. Arai is going to find himself in a potential world of hurt here. King R, he's level 3, 1-1-1. He does have a glimpse. Arai is just going to chase him down here. There's the glimpse. And does Arai keep going for this? 3 stacks of Sticky. He's going to force a TP out. No point in play break. It's going to be close, but can't quite get it.
Yeah, that was almost a big burn there. And, I mean, Arai's making the nice early rotations. I do like what he's doing here. He does have to make sure he gets some XP, though. Only level 4 here. And
only 7 last hits, actually. Yeah, you make a good point. Maybe he's almost spent too much time roaming around at this point. He did force 2 TPs back, and even though that doesn't feel like a victory for Arai, it truly is, because now you know that King R is going to have to walk all the way back to lane with no boots, by the way. And that means that Darkseer can put a little more pressure on the lane and feel pretty safe.
The body blocks going back in. Can Big them keep it up?
Afterlife might actually die here. Crack and Shell keeps him safe from the Frostbite. Silence is there. Goddamn, he wants to dive it, but knows better and decides to retreat the other way. Miposhka maybe overcommits. They've got a dust. They have the damage to bring him down. Frostbite is there. Crack and Shell not going to save you. They'll find a kill on the Bounty Hunter. Big Num getting low, but goddamn, trying to throw in some right clicks. Anchor Smash is there, and Afterlife will clean it up. That's great for the Tidehunter. He's at least getting something out of this whole exchange. Not ideal to feed a kill to the Spectre, but at least Tide gets credit for a solo kill.
Yeah, and, you know, Spectre, she's going to have a difficult path ahead of her, because, again, the threat of the Ravage, the threat of the Omni is always there. And we'll see how Empire are going to manage that, and when they're going to start pushing, when they're going to exert their power. Is it going to be right at that level 6, or do they wait for Tide Blink? Do they wait for Dragonite to get his first big items?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that you can just plan it around the Tide level 6. It really depends on the movements of PR. Who has the better late game here? That's kind of an interesting question. Juggernaut, DK on one side, Spectre on the other. I don't think there's an obvious advantage. It's not like one team just wants to play passive and farm towards the late game and the other team is on a very clear timer and wants to end. I think both teams are relatively even paced. The Spectre will probably outmatch them eventually, but we're talking pretty late into the game. You know, the mid game, it should be fairly even. One of the reasons Spectre has fallen off is because she doesn't come online fast enough, and we'll see if Gotham here ends up going for the Vanguard build or if it's just a casual Ring of Health into Radiance, and that will be pretty telling of how PR would have take this game. If he goes for the Vanguard, they're going to fight more. If he goes for the Radiance, of course, he's going to sit back and farm.
And I mean, maybe it's just because I got a glimpse of PR when they weren't exactly at their strongest, or rather, a glimpse of Empire when they weren't at the strongest. But Scandal's DK has underwhelmed me. Now, I speak of that right as Arise is going to get plummeted down. Nice flame break may save his life. Bignum coming in with that cloud will do a fair amount of work.
And a double damage rune. That alone is enough to kind of deter you. Even though it's just a Ricky, that extra damage with the backstab, it starts to add up, and they're not going to commit for it. So good rotation there, showing his face. Arise will survive. Now, does he get lasso at level 6? That's kind of what I'm curious about. That,
I think he's going to wait till 7 or 8. I think he needs a little bit more time in lane. You pick up the lasso when you're ready to rotate and get those kills, because every other point is so valuable early on, getting that maxed out Firefly, getting those sticky napalm charges going. So I'm thinking it's going to be 7 or 8. Now, down bottom, looks like there could be some sort of engage. They're kind of going onto Tide, but just casual harass. J4 could set this up as they are going to bring in some rotations.
Yeah, Afterlife, level 5, 3 points in Kraken Shell. He's really beefy. He's also got himself the infused raindrop, so not an easy kill. They might be able to bring him down, but perhaps not. They're not even going to commit for it. Kraken Shell just makes it so hard. Frostbite is their primary disable, and once they lay damage into him, that threshold will cleanse it, as we saw in the skirmish prior. So I feel like the hard part for Afterlife is kind of over. He's at the point now where they can't just man up and kill him. He's really hard to man up on. The raindrops make a big difference, and he's almost level 6, so now he can afford to be a little more aggressive in lane and start finding some of these last hits, at least occasionally. He's actually got 15, not as bad as I thought.
Yeah, switching over to Juggernaut, our big leader. Spectre, she's had a pretty free lane. I'm actually surprised she hasn't gotten a little bit more gold out of that.
Yeah, you're right. There's a decent disparity there. Ramsey's definitely pulling ahead on that front. About 300 net worth will be his favor. He's having a great time. You know, we talked about the Juggernaut pick. Is it going to be mid or safe lane? And this is exactly why you pick Juggernaut against Darkseer. It's almost like the Ion Shell doesn't even matter. He's able to just farm through it, no problem. And that really limits some of the effectiveness of the Darkseer.
Radiant Courier Snipe.
Yeah, how unfortunate. I keep getting these prediction updates. That's great.
Yeah, it's obnoxious when it's like highest net worth at 25 minutes every time it switches over from 0 to
like
25
10
minutes.
net worth difference of each other.
It's just a box like quarter of the size of the screen.
I killed a creep. No, I killed a creep. No, you killed a creep. No, I killed a creep. It's like, great. Thanks for the Twitter updates.
It's just like, just tell me what happened in 25 minutes. I can, like, there's nothing I can do about it now. Just leave me be.
Exactly. It's like, just give me the rundown. You're playing with my heartstrings here. Tier 1 tower mid, going to be in some trouble. Scandal, sieging it hard. They've already used the glyph. PR gearing up for what could be a fight. J4, the one that gets initiated on. Tower does get denied, but their Crystal Maiden gets destroyed in the back line.
She gets iced.
Yeah. Nice deny from Bignum, though. Limiting some of that gold income. It's a minor victory. And some recovery for Scandal. Look at that net worth. He's number 2. So even though he did die at the very... I mean, of all the times to die in the lane, that's honestly almost the best. Because the Bat Rider can only do so much with it, and then he rotated bottom, and then he rotated up top. So Scandal actually had a lot of time in the lane to just sit back, farm the recovery. You know, they've knocked down the tower. He's right back on course. Shit, he's 30% ahead of the Bat Rider.
Yeah, and looks like Scandal will be picking up the armlet, just padding his stats a little bit, padding his survivability before going for that Blink Dagger. So a couple of times on DK, we see immediate rush from Treads right into the Blink to get that initiation power going with the Dragon Tail and the Breathe Fire, but, you know, he's going to stat himself up, make himself a little bit more ferocious.
Yeah, no doubt.
Haunt up top. Looks like, Glimpse back is just going to actually send her back to safety, as Bignum going to be zipping on through. Looks like he may end up going down. The Invis comes in. They do TP in a dust. So Invis on Invis hate as Bounty Hunter brings the vision.
Yeah, support for support here. Ricky for the Disruptor. Pretty even exchange. Spectre bumping up the net worth a little bit. Arise getting some time in the mid lane. He now secures his Blink Dagger. So looking at a 10-minute blink. Level 8 has the Flaming Lasso. He is definitely online and ready to start moving around and controlling the game. And it got him. He did go for the Vanguard, so I think Power Rangers is going to keep this pretty high-octane game. I would imagine pretty much every time Haunt is up and they have the Lasso, they're going to be looking for an opportunity to find a pick.
All right, so it looks like, again, even kill score here. Net worth is going to be slightly in favor of the Dire, but nothing that can't be turned around. I mean, you can't really tap out a Spectre. Like you mentioned, it takes her a bit of a long time to come online. She's fighting early, she's getting kills, so it's not that difficult for Spectre to really amp up and be, you know, 6 slotted by like 35 minutes.
Right now, the disparity that's causing that is really the mid lane. Every other position is relatively even. You look at the off laners, they're within 100 net worth. Scandal's at about 5k, and the Bat Rider, played by Rise, is about 3.5. So all of those rotations have definitely cost him in terms of his raw farm. Big smoke opportunity here, him and Bignum Ricky going to be able to scout it out. They're going to go right in onto Scandal, I think. No, they hesitate, and he walks back up to the high ground. It gets pinged out, and they are suspicious. Arise has been off the map for a while, and I think they are aware that this Blink Dagger is looming.
Absolutely. I mean, it's...
Oh, nice scan.
Oh, they go in. They will get the dust, but nothing to...
Oh, that was a Radiant scan. That's weird.
Yeah. I mean, they were trying to see if anyone was in the trees waiting for them.
Yeah. I thought it was a Dire scan at first. I'm like, wow, they called that positioning perfectly. That's impressive. But no, not quite. And Bounty Hunter is also level 6. That's always a key part of this hero. He's got it in a pretty timely manner. He's had a reasonably slow game, but given that they only have 3 kills, he has 3 assists. So on that front, he has been pretty active.
Yeah, and we're going to have to see what he can do with that track goal, because it's always nice to be able to throw out the tracks, but you have to actually follow up with kills to start the spiral, so there's going to be a bit more priority placed on rotating around as a group, and that's going to kind of be the beginning of that flux and flow around the big ultimates.
Yeah, there is also just amazing synergy with the Bounty Hunter and Disruptor. Of course, you got to close the gap to use the Glimpse, and that extra movement speed you get from track just makes his job that much easier. You also need vision to get the glimpses off, so... those 2 heroes, we didn't mention it in the draft, but those 2 heroes do actually work very well at this stage of the game when Empire want to be aggressive and start knocking down towers. So here you go. They've got Ravage, they've got an armlet on the DK, and they're going to start grouping up and knocking down towers. Tier 1 in the bottom lane will definitely go down. No defense mounted by Power Rangers. Got him, just moves into the jungle and continues getting his farm going on. Empire may just continue the push. They've got plenty of time left on the Elder Dragon form, and I think they're going to start chipping at this Tier 2 and see how Power Rangers react. PR are grouped up in the top lane, posturing like they want to make a push here.
Yeah, why not?
Tier 1 for Tier 1 and a Tier 2.
I mean, Fortify being used, so PR don't want to give this away for free, but may just be delaying the inevitable. Like, again, you mentioned the Dragon form still up.
It looks like they're going to sack it. They're not making any movements towards the tower, and... Well, a good trade for Empire. Let's put it that way.
Click on Darkseer. He just TP'd to the Tier 1 accidentally.
Oh, what a bummer.
Like to the offlane Tier 1.
Peculiar. Maybe they thought Empire would come back to defend, so they were gearing up for a fight, and I'm misreading that situation like that. I think if the lanes were the opposite, where Empire is pushing the Tier 2 top and vice versa, that play makes a little more sense. This is honestly the least useful tower on the map. Nobody cares about this thing.
Yeah.
This tower down here is actually pretty important. It opens up the Radiant jungle. It gives you an access point to Roche. Now it's pretty easy for Empire to just kind of cut the map this way and just move into enemy territory, knowing that if they catch someone, there isn't an easy access point for PR to TP to. So I am a little surprised to see PR just kind of hand over that tower and just pick up a Tier 1 for themselves. I really don't think that's a good trade.
All right, we'll smoke up. We'll see if PR can redeem themselves and go for some picks, because if they were to land like a wipe here, yeah, that's worth a tower. But yeah, it's free objectives given up by PR, because I guess they are holding out for late game, and they're like, oh, tower goes down, the lane's going to push, just more time for Spectre to farm. But it's Empire accumulating more and more of a lead, and their power spike hasn't even really hit yet.
Yeah, it's also more time for the Juggernaut to get more farm.
Oh, but Haunt up top. Looks like they are going to get the pick onto Afterlife. Does he have time to react? He's silenced up. Flame Blake back into the smoke, so he's dead, but that was a 5-man rotation for a off-lane Tide.
That's okay. They'll take it anytime. At this point, Spectre just wants kills. Anytime they have Haunt, if they can trade that for a kill, they'll take it, especially before he has Radiance. Right now, the priority, get Spectre Radiance, so Gotham can actually start to power farm and try to pull ahead and control the game. Until then, they need to do this kind of 5-man to regain some footing here. So I think they're okay with that, but you're right. It is a lot of resources used, and now Empire, they could still react. The respawn timer on Taya is pretty low, so he could come back. He's got the Ravage ready, and they could potentially take a team fight here. PR are lingering around in enemy territory. They're pinging out this Spectre like, dude, get back, please. Okay. Yeah, there's an issue when one of the supports is pinging on the carry.
Yeah, it's just a little bit too much aggression coming out so far.
Yeah, well, with a play like that, you get a nice clean pick. You see that they're going to start to rotate, and you just don't want to linger around too long and make that, from a great pick on the Tide to an unfavorable trade off-laner for safe fight. That's kind of the worst-case scenario. And now Empire is going to get a freebie in the top. I don't even need an Elder Dragon form. Scandal, he'll get credit for that one.
All right, now Scandal, his items are looking pretty good. It looks like he is going to go for that early BKB rush, so still passing over the Blink Dagger. What do you think about that?
I think it's all right. Sort of like we talked about in the draft. is a game where there's less pressure on the DK to be that blink initiator. TI definitely going to go for the blink dagger after the mech arcane boots here. And they've got the bounty hunter. I think that's the key thing. He's the one that can kind of be in the back lines, be a little bit of a mobile ward, and open up initiation possibilities without the DK investing in the blink. If he goes for BKB, he's just this nice staple beefcake in the middle of the fight and becomes very hard to deal with. Even if he gets caught by a lasso or something else, he's hard to bring down. I mean, Empire are really hitting this timing well. They've killed almost all the outer towers now, just a tier 2 in the mid standing. Again, PR trade a tier 2 for a tier 1. They're going to go to the high ground and just see how PR react. They see that Power Rangers have used their glyph. Teams fall into this trap sometimes, so they use that glyph a little bit prematurely. They're going to go right for it. Riki walks into his death. They're going to grab Ramses. Ravage comes out from Afterlife. It'll cost Juggernaut his life, but it still looks okay here for Empire. They've done about half damage to the tier 3 tower. They'll trade a 1-for-1 and back out to reset things a little bit. Now, Cheshire Cat stunned up into the Static Storm. Empire getting pulled out of their base. It'll cost them their Darkseer. Got him. Pushed out as well. He gets tracked up. They're going to chase him back in. Scandal should have a stun coming up in about 1 second. He does. Can't quite get it off. He loses the Elder Dragon form at an unopportune time. And now Empire are going to get cleaned up a bit. Afterlife almost TP's out. Can't quite make it. The rest of his team does turn tail and run. No buybacks used there. It is a pretty decent hold from Power Rangers. Very back and forth fight. It seemed like Empire might be able to take it, but in the end, PR had the superior resources. And their tower does stay standing. I think Empire just needed to be a little bit more cautious there, poke the tower, and commit to the fight outside of the base, not quite charge up like they did at the end there. DK losing his Elder Dragon form, that was painful.
Yeah, I think also they just tried to fight without Roshan. We're 17 minutes in. This is deceptively early. It feels like it could be 30 minutes in,
Yeah.
but I think back off, get your next big items, go for Roche, and then try that again. Having 2 lives, having the DK with some more sustainability, and the opportunity to jump in deeper without getting punished.
Yeah, but their hyper-aggression not only cost them in terms of deaths, but now Spectre has the Radiant secured. Relic and Recipe picked up, and now Spectre becomes a serious force to be reckoned with. Roshan, maybe a possibility? Uh-oh, Lasso.
On the Disruptor, though, that's a big cooldown and sets up for a nice Omni. Arise is going to live through it. They got the mech there, and now the dust comes out with Disruptor's last breath. She will get the reveal onto the Riki, and that's going to be, Disruptor finally falling. Can they get the pick back onto Bignum? They've got the track there, so nice, reliable vision coming out. And nice blink strike to the high ground, though. Breathe Fire will do it. Scandal making the plays, goes for that Dragon Tail. Now going in, looking for the body blocks on a Cheshire Cat. Another track keeps vision up. Spectre coming in, though. She's got that Spectral Dagger. Now Scandal stuck in place once again. A little bit too deep. He wants to take out Cheshire Cat, but the Urn there from Crystal Maiden, the saves. That's going to be huge. He wanted to take someone down with him, but in the end, it's a DK that just got a little bit too bloodthirsty and tunnel-visioned.
Yeah, it was a pretty close call. If he had gotten the Darkseer, that aggression obviously would have been worth it, but it's another good fight for Power Rangers. Another one of these really chaotic, spread-out team fights where it's like a give and take, where one team kind of overcommits, and then the opposition comes in, and then they overcommit, and it's this weird tug-of-war back and forth. And of the last 2 fights, Power Rangers has definitely come out ahead, and we see the benefits on the gold graph here, getting close to zeroed out, and Empire starting to get perhaps just a little more nervous just at the prowess of this Spectre, who over the next 5 to 10 minutes will go from a nuisance to a serious threat.
Absolutely. I mean, I think this is Empire realizing, crap, we're on the clock, we got to go make some plays, but they may not be perhaps the smartest. I mean, I think they're feeling a little bit of pressure. This best-of-1 system really brings out some stress in people.
It really does. You have to remember with these qualifiers, these teams are not in a normal state of mind. I mean, especially teams that had to grind out of the opens. It is an absurd amount of games you have to play in a very, very short period of time. These qualifiers are not just about raw skill at Dota, but your ability to manage the stress, grind through these ridiculously long days, and stay focused.
Man, yeah.
It's an endurance challenge as much as it is a skill challenge. Maybe not quite even, but the endurance aspect is absolutely huge. And that's where you see these more seasoned teams that are kind of used to this kind of a grind tend to shine a little more in these scenarios. Yeah,
it's one thing to go in and play a flawless, very well executed game of Dota. It's another to have to play like 16 in a row.
Yes, absolutely right. I mean, I know how tired I get after casting 3 best-of-3s. I think playing is probably more intensive than casting
a little bit,
by just a little bit there. So No, it's pretty impressive to see these teams grind through these really long days. And at this point, remember, there's a lot of pressure on this game. It's worth restating the stakes here. Both these teams are tied up. The loser almost guaranteed not in the playoffs. The winner at least still has a shot to make it in tiebreakers.
Scandal, though, he can't afford to go down here. He's dragged up. They bring in Goddamn, and that's going to be 1 kill. And yeah, the armlet cannot save you this time, big guy. And that's 50 seconds, no DK. And he has the buyback, but at this point it's too expensive. Empire, they now have to stall out the push for the next minute.
Yeah, no need to buy back here. They'll probably just sack this tier 1 tower. I think Empire are not too upset about their tier 1s at this point. Pretty nice rotation from PR. Yeah, it's a 5-on-1, 4-on-1, what have you. Not really too much Scandal could do there. He was relatively far forward, but you know, sometimes you got to take that risk. Tidehunter looking at a pipe, it looks like here. No Blink Dagger. Wow, I'm a little bit surprised.
That is the Xiao Wei build.
Yeah. I mean, I think this build is fine in a vacuum. It's more, I thought somebody would get a Blink Dagger. Okay, DK skips it. That makes sense. BKB is good here. I think it's on Tide. And even Jug now, he's just going to transition into a Battle Fury kind of farming-based build and get a little extra damage. So I think Empire saying, well, we don't need to worry about fighting too much. PR might bring the fight to us. We're going to sit back and farm and try to keep pace with this Spectre. It'll be interesting to see how it works out. Jug, with the Battle Fury, definitely can farm quite fast.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be scaling up nicely, but goddamn, not getting that kit online, and Juggernaut, he's going to be going through Battle Fury again, almost completed.
Yeah, he's just about there. It's about 50 gold or so. I don't know, I guess Empire, they thought, this is our timing. Let's see what kind of damage we can do. Okay, we got a little too aggressive. We got knocked back. Now we need to revert to farming. We need to play this like a straight-up game and respect Power Rangers as a late-game contender, not just a team that we can roll over in 20 minutes with a timing push. So I think that's kind of the shift here in terms of no Blink Daggers and getting some of these farming tools. BKB is up on the Dragon Knight now.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the net worth disparity, though, it's Spectre doing very, very well in terms of her individual net worth, but the next 3 heroes are just a packet of Empire that are ready to go in and ready to fight at a moment's notice.
Yeah. I mean, I think Jug can deal with the Spectre, though. It's, I mean, there is a point where, of course, Spectre just becomes this unbelievable mass of return damage once she is super tanky and 6-slotted, but that's still a long ways coming. There's a good, like, 20, 30-minute window here where Juggernaut will absolutely be able to go blow for blow with her and put a lot of pressure on. You know, like, Omni Slash is an incredible ability in this mid-game timing that we're moving into here. It just does so much damage and also keeps Juggernaut safe from damage, which is a really unique mechanic to carries. Part of the reason why I think they're pretty comfortable, at least for the next foreseeable future, allowing Jug to farm.
Well,
here we
the
go.
haunt in. That's going to be a huge play if they can go for it. There's a track step bat. He wants to get something done, but may not be in time. Ricky going in. There's the Ravage, only connecting on a couple. Cheshire Cat will end up falling. Nice Omni Slash committed from Ramses. He's going to get flame breaked in, but only closer to the damage. Now on the back line, Spectre is able to go through and take out the Bounty Hunter. They're looking for more here. Goddamn. Going to be running away for her life. Has the Thunderstrike and will be picked up by that Breathe Fire. Blink away. And now there's a glimpse back, keeping Big Nim in the fight. Again, they do still have the track. He blinks away to the creeps, trying to get something out of this, but there will be that kinetic field to hold him in place. He just has to sit there and take it. Oh, another Blink Strike, but walking straight into DK's Dragon Tail. So that's a dead Ricky, and that's going to be a 3-for-1 trade. The Bounty Hunter already got off 2 tracks in that fight. He got off exactly what he needed to do.
Yep, team fight recap helping us out a lot there. Going to be an easy Roche here for Empire. It's a 1-for-3 exchange overall, and of course in the team fights, it's not a straight-up fair man's fight, Juggernaut on Spectre, but I think that fight was a good example of Spectre's even ahead of him right now. They're very close to net worth, and Jug was still very easily able to just kind of chase her down, give her the old right clicks, and do plenty of damage. So even though the Radiance opens up for the Spectre to farm more and be kind of scary, she still needs a lot more items before she can just turn on the Jug and, you know, go blow for blow. So I think Empire are okay for now, but you know, this timing is coming. The next 10, 15 minutes, they need to make these fights happen. Hopefully they make use of this Aegis.
Yeah, I think this is going to be Empire's perhaps last free window where they can go in before the Spectre becomes a huge problem.
Uh-oh, Bat Rider got a solo kill on the Bounty Hunter.
I saw you. You were like looking at the map, glaring it down. You stopped for like a minute to stretch your back, and that's when the kill happened.
Bad posture, man. 7:30 a.m. here on the Pacific Coast. It's been a long night, folks. It's
what
been a long
night?
night.
I haven't slept.
Yeah, it's been a long everything. Big Num. Interesting. Medallion on the Ricky. Okay. I haven't seen that too much. You've seen like diffusals, kind of 4-staff utility type items.
Yeah, I think that is
I like it. It's just a little bit different.
yeah, it's going to have a lot of utility there, beefing up the Spectre, tearing down the Jug if you need to.
Yeah, it does give him a nice transition point. You know, just pick up the Solar Crest, and that way whoever the Jug is kind of trained on, you can give him some additional survivability with the evasion. Or put it on the Jug as well. He might go for an MKB at some point, but a ways off. So I think there's definitely some potential there. The Medallion's also really good for Roche possibilities. PR, Radiant side, never really at a Roche advantage, but if you win a fight, the Medallion allows you to take it a lot faster than otherwise planned.
All right, so you know, so far Empire not really pushing the envelope with their Aegis. They're going to go through on mid. We'll see if they want to push all the way to high ground here, or if they're just kind of forcing out some spells, maybe trying to test PR's patience.
Yeah, I think this is definitely the first stop. Take out the easy tower mid. PR probably not going to mount a super crazy defense unless they have a good opening.
Oh, there's the haunt though. They're going in. They get the jump. Nice smoke cloud from the Riki. The tricks of the trade does so much damage. Scandal in the BKB form though. He's going to get dragged through the wall, having to face himself. And now the rest of the Radiant heroes, they're looking to team up onto Scandal. Arise getting smacked on onto the high ground is going to be tracked up, so they do have good vision on him. And now Bounty Hunter making so much space while in the mid. Looks like Afterlife going to get slowed up. Arise will find the kill onto the Bounty Hunter. The rest of the Dire are scrambling. That was a really nice hold from PR. They get the Disruptor, they get the Bounty, but most importantly, they force out some big spells from Empire, and Empire don't get anything in return.
It was a surprising defense to jump and initiate at that timing. They had a ward right here, so they knew exactly what was going on. They knew what they were getting into and realized that Empire were a little bit split up, not really in the best spot to fight, and boy, did they seize the day. That was a great execution with no hesitation. Bat Rider, BKB on the way. That's going to be huge. Not in that fight, but the one before at the Roche Pit. He was actually the glimpse target from the Disruptor, and I think that's one of the biggest things that he'll be able to deal with now with a BKB picked up. Those are the kind of fights PR need. Like you mentioned, a great setup from the Riki. That smoke cloud made that just an easy, quick kill there on the Disruptor.
Absolutely. So, let's look at what else is going to be going down in the next couple of minutes here. Overall item pickups. Tidehunter with that finished pipe like we saw, and now finished Greaves as well.
This is so smart, though. Empire, they know that they don't have Spectre ult. They know they don't have Darkseer wall. They're going to go for some pushing. This is the perfect time to fight. All they used was the Omni Slash and the Elder Dragon form. They've got a Ravage, and they've still got the Aegis. Absolutely perfect time to try to force an engagement. I doubt they go high ground here without an Elder Dragon form. Maybe they'll try it, but they need to be a little bit careful.
I mean, they still have a couple big spells. They've got the Ravage, they've got the Static Storm, which is actually huge. They didn't have to bust those in the last fight, so as long as you're ready, sitting on the triggers, you could definitely turn this. You could even go deep here. You could go for an aggressive Static Storm, a zoning Static Storm if you need.
There's that mischance from the Riki Cloud. That's pretty annoying. They force out a Glyph. Spectre does get the Tier 2 tower in the top lane, and now the Elder Dragon form is up. Empire in a great posture here, going right for the sure damage on the ranged barracks. Arise, he's speedy, he's BKB'd, he's going on in, he grabs Scandal, that's going to be the target of choice. Afterlife looking for a Ravage, but it's silence after silence. Arise still BKB'd up. Disruptor, the only casualty thus far. There is a pipe on PR that's already been popped, turning into a very spread out fight. Not sure who this is actually favoring. It's a 4v5, and Empire seem to be the ones in full retreat mode, but they've got some ultimates. There's the Ravage. They've still got an Omni Slash. Looks like they won't quite be able to use it. God damn, moves up to the high ground, and now Empire getting chopped to bits. The ult from J4 doing huge damage here. They get Scandal first. Now the Omni Slash comes. They try to mech through it. They're all grouped up, and Ramses with the cleave picks up a double kill. He'll chase down Arise. They've killed the bounty, and just like that, PR get pushed back in their own base. The Aegis does go down. Arise trying to drop some fire. Ramses with the Blade Fury cuts him down straight away. Spectre, the lone survivor, now a buyback from Riki. Ramses says, I'm out of here, boys. I'm heading back to the base. Ranged barracks, stay standing, low on HP. Talk about a chaotic fight. Big gain for Empire. They do get a tier 3 tower and force one buyback, though the Spectre does live. And wow.
Yeah, that's definitely worthwhile. They're almost a 5k XP swing for Empire, and that's just going to be putting them towards more and more of a lead.
Absolutely. 16-13. This is one hell of an even game we've got on our hands here. Empire will pull to the lead, but I feel like that fight...
Oh, Jug Scotty.
Oh, wow, he's got the Scotty already. Yeah, he's got pretty good farm. We're definitely starting to see that Spectre, though, get harder to deal with. Even just having the Manta in that fight, it's a world of difference from just Vanguard Radiance. He was the lone survivor after all. Ramses with a Scotty. Yeah, this Jug is now super tanky. I can't believe they grouped up so much for that fight as well. They may kind of handed Ramses that double kill on a silver platter.
I mean, that J4 ult was just gorgeous, though. They had to go for that Crystal Maiden play. If they hadn't, it would have been pretty miserable there. So at least they got something out of it. Now, Big Num keeping some eyes on Ramses. I don't think they try to take this, although they do bring in the Crystal Maiden. But
Big Num loses half his HP just from the cleave there. That's that hurts. Afterlife with the pipe. Yeah, kind of an awkward Ravage in that last fight. It's really hard for the Tide. Ricky makes his life so difficult. You can see exactly who the silence is positioned for, and it's pretty much the Tide Hunter every fight. Big Num's doing a really good job isolating him and sort of forcing him to make that decision like, okay, you could Ravage now, but it wasn't ideal. As soon as he got out of the silence, Bat Rider was the closest target, was still BKB'd, not a time that you want to Ravage. It's tough for Afterlife. I think he's been playing remarkably well given how hard it's been for him to get off these good Ravages. Well, now he's got a Force Staff. This will make his life a lot easier.
He's still sitting on that gem, so if Ricky walks up, this could be pretty dangerous, because Ricky's been kind of trailing Juggernaut, trying to split that XP, trying to keep eyes, but all they have to do is group up once, and now this big smoke is going to be awesome here. It looks like there will be another group up here from the Radiant Heroes, and they're going to try to get this Ancient stack, but they will go in. Again, got him. He does have that Spectral Dagger on cooldown.
Oh
okay, he goes back up in. So they take some Ancient farm. Now they're going to be getting the kill on Big Nim right away. Ricky already fought back for that last fight, so he doesn't have it. Not the most crucial buyback in the world, but at least it's something.
Yeah, they, I think PR will be pretty happy to trade their Ricky if Spectre can survive like that. That is just... lucky isn't the word, but that is so opportune for the Spectre to be farming Ancients, beautiful positioning on the side of the cliff, already has the Spectral Dagger on, and just walks back to the other side. Absolutely nothing they could do. Stops the smoke, reveals it. Just great positioning from this Spectre.
Yep, and I don't believe that was a track kill on the Ricky, so at least there's no more gold spiraling in their favor for that.
Yeah, that's true. The track gold, it really does add up. And I think that's part of the reason why Empire's been able to pull into the lead so far. Or by such a big margin, I guess I should say. Glimmer Cape up on the Disruptor. DK now picking up the Dragon Lance. This is just becoming a standard core item on this hero. The extra range in Elder Dragon form lets you siege from so far away, and he definitely benefits from that stat gain. Pipe on the Darkseer also. We did see it a couple fights ago, but pipes on both sides. And there's that Darkseer Blink Dagger. All right.
We lost our prediction then. We had 25 minutes. People really stalled him out. Yeah, we plummeted. There was one, I think. We voted 3 to 4.
This is actually a really late Darkseer for the, or late Blink Dagger for the Darkseer. I mean, the pipe is definitely justified here. I understand why he did it, but yeah, normally you'll see Darkseers go for that Blink Dagger before they commit to the full pipe, just because it's just so good at those. You know, like we've seen Empire be pretty aggressive here. You know, defend these kind of areas. That's where a Blink Darkseer is just incredible.
Alright, so Spectre stays farming here, now sitting on almost 4.5k gold. What does she look for next? That's a full defusal.
There you go. I think the choice was tank or damage. Heart of Tarrasque, always a good item on this hero. And defusal just gives you a lot more utility. Those illusions with the mana burn now. And of course you get a purge for yourself and your teammates. Not really much that's going to be able to cleanse this game, but occasionally it will help you set up those kills. Empire just walk right into the Roche Pit. Radiant do not have any vision. They've got this ward over here on the high ground, but there's a little dark alleyway here, and Empire just going to sneak on in there. Oh, it's a fake back, too, kind of hoping that it was warded. They go into the Roche Pit, smoke out. Very crafty little play here. PR, they seem suspicious. They're going to try to smoke into the pit. This could be huge. 2
ships passing in the night, man. Who's going to be the first one to bump into the other?
That is a good question. PR, they're going to have the high ground advantage.
Ramses, they know what's going on, but he spins. He's going to be going on through. They look at the drag. He's not taking damage, though. He's put in an unopportune position. He does have the Omni. Can he get it off? He will. Looks like the Silence Static Storm not doing a whole bunch of work. Cheshire Cat is going to be taking that track. Can they get the kill? That's another track kill going the way of Ramses. They're looking for more here. Afterlife has the Ravage. Got to just be fighting off illusions for now, as it seems like Empire, they're content with what they got.
Rise pretty lucky there. That Omni Slash could have gone one of 2 ways, and it followed the Darkseer. He was 1 hit away from death. Only a 2 for nil, and definitely could have been a 3 for nil. The mech helped pick him back up, but not enough. Those kind of plays, very hard to anticipate when both teams are smoked up, and Empire just find the better of it. It's a very chaotic, scattered fight, and they, like you said, they didn't even need the Ravage, but Juggernaut, not the hero you want to grab to start off that fight. He got off the Blade Fury first, so even though they isolated him, they couldn't really do any damage to bring him down quickly. And then on top of that, he's the one hero that has the reset to go into the Omni Slash, and then you are just boned.
So, well, Empire, they're looking good. Kill score tied up, but net worth telling a very different story.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely one of these games where the kill score is quite misleading. It's about a 10k net worth lead for Empire, and now the Butterfly on the way for the Juggernaut. So,
oh man, that evasion is going to be brutal, because Spectre, she's your main source of damage, and she's just not an MKB builder.
Oh, you're absolutely right about that. They're going to have a lot of trouble dealing with it this game. Really smart item choice here from Ramses. And the Flutter, actually not too bad to have either. I always forget about that added addition to the item now. I feel like Butterfly was good without it, and now it's actually just a pretty incredible item in some scenarios. Like being able to charge into a Spectre, for example, or get away from a Spectre. Sometimes that Flutter activate is a lifesaver.
Man, I just keep thinking how good Ramses is. Like, he can play this Juggernaut. Not one of his more typical heroes. He's usually on those kind of beefcake, just charge in, very tanky. And Juggernaut's a little bit more glass cannon.
A little bit.
Isn't this kid like 17?
I think so. I think he's pretty young, yeah. I don't know too much about the Ramses story. I know he has kind of a Cinderella story, though. Sort of popped up and became a star pretty quickly. Kind of like a little bit like the Bulldog. You know, they found Admiral Bulldog just in pub games. He was top of the EU ladder. They're like, hey, dude, you're pretty good. You're pretty good at Profit, right? You want to play with us? And then they played a few games with him, and they were like, holy shit, this guy's incredible. Wow, we got a good find. I mean, it really was kind of a cool story like that, where just a pub player steps up and fills the void.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely performing on or above par for any other hard carry in the scene.
Yeah. It was like Excalibur from the old Team Tinker days when he stood in for Fnatic. Everybody thought it was like this planned thing. It's like, nope, they just looked at the ladder and said, hey, Excalibur, cool name, bro. You want to play some Dota with us?
Yeah, it seems like your MMR is pretty solid. You like playing carry, son. And okay, going in, trying to bait out, see what's going to drop. They will get the pull onto Skandal, but again, it's level 3 Dragon form. He's not too scared. He's going to actually turn here. Can they get the kill onto Gotham? Looks like they're going through. Ramses is going to be going through, spinning around, not taking a whole bunch. And now Crystal Maiden, she's dancing, but it's a little bit too far back to get a whole lot done. And, well, everyone's tracked up, and it looks like Empire, they can retreat without losing anything here.
Great for Empire. Absolutely great. They still have Ravage. They did use some of their big ultimates, but so did PR. Lasso, Wall, Haunt, all used. And I think the Ravage is kind of the key ability here. The tower also took a lot of peripheral damage during that fight. Big Num gets glimpsed back. They're going to hold on to the glyph for now. Ramses chopping into that tier 3 tower, turns it to rubble, and now moves on to the barracks. The backdoor protection has decided to kick in. It's got a mind of its own.
Oh, they can turn this. They still have the Ravage, remember. Nice force in. Can Afterlife, once the silence expires, go for it. Looks like he will pop it out. They lock got him in place. He really can't go back on through. Will be forced back out. Everything's there to try to save him, but the glimpse back in.
Oh my god.
Disruptor. Spectre just got handled right there.
Yeah, that Spectre just played Ring Around the Rosie unintentionally. He was just a ragdoll being pushed all around between Ravages, Force Staffs, Glimpse. They tried to Force Staff him back up again to the high ground, but he turned his face and got pushed to the side. This is now a buyback from the Spectre. It's a really delicate timing here for Power Rangers. If the Spectre dies, this could be close to a GG moment. Empire low on ultimates, but they want to continue this siege. They know they're not going to have an opportunity much better than this. Still a glyph available for Power Rangers, and they do have a Flaming Lasso. Arise jumps in, grabs Scandal, pulls him into the tier 4 towers. His teammates trying to do what they can. Scandal's BKB is back, and they're ready to fight. God, I'm stuck inside the Static Storm. Kinetic Field, Spectre's dead. It's a dieback. Now Empire in great shape to take the barracks. PR trying to do anything they can to make a hold here. Ramses getting low, but he's still got the Aegis of the Immortal in tow. PR absolutely on the back foot here, and with Spectre dead, guaranteed without a buyback, they're going to go in, and boy are they. Ramses goes down. There's the Aegis of the Immortal. Big Num trying to make it back to the well. Arise gets popped. He's got a buyback, and he may need to use it. Gem of True Sight on the deck. The effigy's getting killed. There's the buyback onto the Bat Rider.
Tied with the taunt, saying, screw you guys, I'm out of here. Yeah. We got our racks. We're just going to let Ramses do his thing.
Yeah, Afterlife, he got zoned out in the lane. Now he's saying zone this as he backstrokes through the base. Empire finally taking a lot of damage. Scandal getting repelled, but the Guardian Greaves, the pipe, it keeps him alive. Now Arise, he's getting pushed back. Ramses saves the ult just for him. It's a dieback on the Bat Rider. Ricky dies as well. Cheshire Cat trying to make it back to the well. The freeze from J4. He's going to dance around, and it will be the end of him, it looks like. Doing what he can to slow them down, and Arise, he is angry, my friends. He's going to pause, he's going to leave, and his team will call GG. Not the most glorious way to go out. Arise living up to his reputation as one of the angrier individuals in the space, but hey, that's okay. Congratulations to Empire for taking a keen victory over the Power Rangers.
Yeah, eventually, as we unfold.
As we resume, and okay, yeah, now we'll see the throne explode. No, that's good, but wow, what a final fight from Empire. I know you didn't get much of a word in there, but my God, it was impressive.
Absolutely, definitely an amazing showing here. We've been talking, on panel about how EU is one of the most dynamic regions where every team able to take games off each other, and I know this is one of the closer matches in terms of predictions, but Empire looking very, very strong. A lot of synergy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We both sort of looked at the drafts and said, okay, this Empire draft feels a little more safe, maybe a little more conventional. It's pretty obvious what their game plan is, and it's just a matter of executing it. With PR, Crystal Maiden, I see what they were going for, but just didn't quite work out. At the end, there was just too much pressure on the Spectre, and all that teamfight utility from Empire shined through. I will say that Disruptor, one hell of a hero. We talked about it in the draft, warranted for that second pick. He was such a key hero in this Empire draft.
All right, so that's going to do it for me today. I think I'm all done on the caster's couch here. So
yeah, you sure are. There's going to be 2 more matches coming up here on this stream. I believe Annie's going to sub out, and Ryu Bora is going to be joining Ol Ziori here for more European coverage. This qualifier still heating up. We're going to come back with the stats and let you guys know where things stand. I'm sure the multicast is going crazy because this European qualifier is still completely wide open. A lot of potential for these teams to make it into the bracket. So stick around, folks. More Dota 2 coming your way after this. Thank you for joining us here on Beyond the Summit 3 for TI6